Hey y'all, welcome to this week's Creative Sessions video. It is a lot. There's so much packed into this 24 minutes and I hope that you enjoyed it. I really just had so much fun Monday and Tuesday creating. I took the time and just decided to let some of these ideas in my head come out onto paper through paint and lines and color and shape. In this section, this is my book that I use to kind of just warm up and not really care what goes down. I just warm up with it. And I decided to use these colors, which are the Target Creamsicle, Dina Wakley Blush, and Dick Blick Paint, Matte Paint, and Purple Matter. I just love those colors together. And then of course I'm doing my line work with the big chunky graphite. I'm using that more and more these days. And then I pull out my Prisma new pastels, put some marks on there, and I don't remember, I think it's plum is the color of that one. And I also use my Prisma colored pencils, and it's raisin, I believe. So just kind of like warming up on this page. I am starting to get more simple, which I like. My biggest problem is overworking stuff, and I'm learning that the simpler the art, the happier that I'm feeling. Because I love that color palette so much, I cut some 3x4 cards, and I was gonna put those colors together and for my joy notes. I'll show you later in the video what I decided to do with these cards. I have a little binder coming that I'm going to put all of them in. I'm so excited, but just a place to have all of my palettes that I love together, and just a place. I'm learning what I like and what makes me happy. And I think that's so important that each of us do that for ourselves, because what's going to make me happy will not make someone else happy. It's so important, again, to take that time and document what makes you happy so that you can be authentic with your art. I was doing a devotional this next morning, and it was about Isaiah 55 of listening and eating. And I actually have a whole song that I wrote on Isaiah 55. So I use those same colors again because I love them, and do it again and again and again if you love it. Just some abstract-y plops. I do love watercolor, but I'm playing a little bit more with acrylic now. So I'm just making some abstract plops, and we'll dry it here in a second. And I decided to do some stuff with the vintage glassine again. Adding some more marks with my gel pen. This one's a little busier than I would normally like, and I'm learning more where I should stop. So I typed out listen and eat because I was going to journal about my devotions for that morning, and I decided to just glue it down and then use my sewing machine to sew this piece of glassine on. I've sewed on my journal page a long time ago, actually about the Lord's Table page. It's on YouTube actually, but I haven't done it in a long time, and I really love the look of fibers in art. So that's something that I might experiment with that a little bit more. I was having such a hard time with my sewing machine. It doesn't like to go through paper for some reason, or maybe I have the settings wrong, but I kind of get impatient with my sewing machine. Oh well, it does what it needs to do. So that is my page that I am going to journal about what the Lord was speaking to me in that devotional through the Cultivate magazine. Oh, and I did use some Stabilo marker to go over the glassine. I thought that made a really cool layered effect. This time with my number stencil, I just used that same raisin colored pencil. And moving along, I had some Happy Mail that I need to be sending out soon, and so I wanted to make some cards to go with it. So just doing the same thing again with the abstract paint, and this time instead of the orange, I decided to dry the first layers and then add this pop of turquoise. And that paint color, I get asked about it all the time. It legit is called turquoise. It's the Creme Coat brand, and it is a beautiful color. I do add the Robin's Egg Target brand paint to it because I really like those two together. You could even add white to that turquoise to make that lighter Robin's Egg probably, but I have it on hand, so I use it. And I'm gonna make my swatch cards because I'm really wanting to be more intentional about remembering the things that I want to revisit and go back to and develop, the things that bring me joy, because I feel like that's just so important. I keep saying it over and over again, but it's so important, the things that just spark you inside in your art, to be very intentional about going back and developing those things. It's great to get inspiration from other people, but I think the best work that you have is what you inspire yourself. That's what I am learning this last year, is that the greatest stuff that I have created is from my own inspiration and my own work. And you will find those little things that you do. It could be just a shape of something. It could be, I don't know what it could be. It could be anything. But whatever that is, like lighting your heart on fire when you create it, I just encourage you to take note of it. And I know it seems like super left-brained to do that, to like be a little more organized with it, but it's so stinking important. So I'm just doing it again with my typewriter. I love using my typewriter for adding sentiments. So this is the thank you. I'm gonna use the glitter glue. I think when I'm running actually out of the glitter glue, and that will be on my video, which I'm still waiting to post, of the empties video, what I would repurchase again. I'm gonna use some more glassine here and my sewing machine. I just felt so free, like creating on these 2 days, and I'm really looking forward to creating even more in December, just kind of for myself. It's nice when I put the camera on and I'm not talking. It's just kind of nice to not have to talk, just kind of do what's in my head. It feels like I'm a little bit, how do I say this? Like I just have a little more freedom to do what's in my head and not have to like stop and explain what I'm doing and just wait till after, you know, like with a voiceover. I think that's why I enjoy these creative sessions so much, is because it feels like it's a little bit more free flowing. I don't have to interrupt the process to say what I'm doing. And I like both styles of videos. I think both styles are great and they have their purpose and place, but I just really, things were flowing so awesome these 2 days. There's one of them. And I did use my washi too, which I will get that out as soon as I can. I decided to use craft paper for the card, and this paper is kind of thin, but because of the watercolor paper I used for that 4x6 piece, I figured it would kind of give it the stability it needed to be a card, even though the craft paper was pretty thin. So I just did that for the rest of the 2 cards. And I kept the craft paper bits, and you'll see me use a piece of that later in this video, but I did keep those bits. They seem substantial enough to keep. If it's super dinky and small, I just throw it away because I can get so lost in, you know, and bits. Don't we all? We can get lost in bits. But these are my 3 cards. I love how they turned out. Just love them. I hope the recipients love them too. Now, for this next section, this is a canvas that has been like all sorts of everywhere in my room, just sitting around. I've taken it to 2 shows, if you will. One was a rally where I had art table and art for sale, and I took it to the meetup in Austin. And you know, it was there, it was for sale if someone really loved it, but honestly I didn't love it and it didn't sell. And I was like, you know, I just need to cover this up. I want to do something different. I want to do one of my abstracts on it. So I decided to just cover it up using some titanium white, nickel azo gold, I believe there is an ochre color in there, and then I use a pale pink as well. So I just wanted to cover it up. I mean, that's just basically what you're seeing here. And what I did discover, and I will write down in my journaling and my joy notes, you start seeing me paint here, but at the very, very end, I use a palette knife and kind of just scrape over the whole thing. And I really liked how that looked with the scraping. It kind of like smoothed it out. It made it almost look airbrushed. I don't know how to explain it. So it was just a fun, different thing to do. And I'm really excited now to do some abstract work over this piece. There's that palette knife going over, and you'll see even on the pink at the top right how it just kind of like, I don't know, it smooths it out. The paint's still very wet, so there's a lot you can do with it. And then I'm just scratching in some texture with my graphite 2mm lead pencil. Whoops, got blue on there. So just some close-ups of that now that I covered it up. And I did let some of the back, you know, it was underneath to show through. This canvas has been painted, I think that's the 4th layer. There's so much underneath this canvas. It has a story for sure. All right, so this is my exciting thing. I'm going to talk about it again, my joy notes. So I have these 3x4 cards with some palettes on them, and I printed out a picture of the journal spread that I shared. I believe that was on Thanksgiving. And I think it's, again, important to really be intentional about what you're creating. And when you find these discoveries, of writing them down and documenting them. My big thing is I am a scribe, right? So we scribe not only our feelings and what happens in our days, but I feel it's important to scribe these moments of discovery. I want to develop this idea more and maybe offer it as like a mini class with ideas on different ways you can document. You don't have to do it this way. There's other ways you can do it too. So I'm just kind of remembering some things recently, like that one page where I did that certain blue with that light ochre Stabilo, and I did the floral and the abstract and used this washi, and I used this Prismacolor. I'm remembering it because I want to do it more. Plus, it's just fun. I mean, how many times have we looked at Jane Davenport's stuff and just see swatches? There's just swatches over and over and over again in her book. And so just to have a really pretty binder full of swatches that bring you joy. I mean, can you imagine opening this book when you have all these things that have brought you joy? Oh my word. Like if I ever have a moment where I'm just like, nah, I don't want to create, I would just have to go to this book and open it up, and it would just be like, oh, like all the things that I have intentionally put down that brought me joy, go to it. And for sure, you know what? And here's the cool thing about the binder idea is that if it doesn't bring you joy anymore, if it makes you mad or whatever, you can toss it. It's in these little pockets, so you can toss it. I was putting down my joy notes in my art journal, and I still like doing that. I think that's cool. But I feel like for me, because by nature, I'm actually not a disorganized person. My studio is a wreck, and I don't even know how I function in here. But by nature, I'm actually a pretty organized person. That's my desire, is to be organized. So for me to have it all together in one place is, to me, makes me happy. So I'm just going through my art journal and looking at the places where I had wrote down those joy notes. I took down those swatches. This was one from a while ago. It had a Transpiral Orange, the Quinn Lilac, and the Payne's Blue Gray. And I did these flowers, and it was on a printable from a while ago. But I decided to just transfer those notes onto this card and then put it in this pocket protector thing, because I would like to keep it there for quick reference. I feel like there's something so soothing about watching people swatch stuff. Is that just me? Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it so much. So here's this flower that I did that I would like to go back to. Going through and seeing if there's anything else. So another one that I'm going to be doing here today is gesso through watercolor. See, there's a note right there, the sticky note. I need to put that on a joy card too, because I want to remember that. It was just on a sticky note, but I think it'd be cool to do the technique that I put on my note and then write the note so that I know to try it again. And again, what I was saying before I interrupted myself was doing that watercolor and then playing with the gesso through the watercolor. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I just love this. I cannot wait to have this binder full of stuff. Is it kind of expensive to do the binder thing? Yeah, it is, because you have to buy the binder, which I got for $7.80 something on scrapbook.com. And then the page protectors, depending on which ones you get, it's a little expensive to buy those page protectors. But again, as you grow and things like, you know, you're tired of something or it's not bringing you joy anymore, I mean, you can toss it and then kind of recycle your page protectors. But I think it's worth it for me to have it organized, you know? Okay, so this next thing that I'm doing, I wanted to revisit scrapbooking again. And I know it feels like I am all over the place, but truly that's my head, y'all. My head is all over the place. So I wanted to do an 8.5 by 11 scrapbook page using this idea I had with my abstract art and with my picture and some journaling, kind of like that spread that I linked in my post yesterday. So I have this beautiful picture of Parker. I took it with my phone. I just did an abstract on this watercolor paper, and then I took that piece of craft paper and decided to use it as well. You know, with having boys, I'm sure that they will appreciate having some more masculine looking color palettes. I mean, I'm not going to limit myself to that, but I think it's nice for me to start with that. Plus, it was this kind of the same palette that I had put in my joy card there earlier. But you'll see me fussing a lot with this page because it's unknown for me. This is a brand new idea. I have not seen anybody combine art with scrapbooking. Maybe it's out there. Maybe I personally have never seen it before. So I feel like I'm like, you know, space, the final frontier, like the unexplored places in my mind where I'm trying to just figure new stuff out. And so that's why I'm fussing it with the page constantly. I'm a little insecure here, kind of jumping off from the spread I did earlier, like a couple weeks ago. But, you know, again, it's like, it's a scrapbook page. So in my head, I'm kind of getting stuck with like, oh, this is permanent. It's like a bigger deal, which is ridiculous. Now looking back, it's ridiculous, like thinking about it. But in the moment, you kind of get stuck in your head. I know other people can relate to me. Because I was having fun with the sewing machine, it was on my floor. I grabbed it and did that again, sewing on that vintage glassine. I love, love, love that glassine. I think that lady's actually out of it. She sold out after I had put the link on there. Yeah, just fussing with this washi tray. Finally, I figure out where to put it. But just again, I feel like it was all in my head. And kind of like my own advice is, you know, whatever happens, you just live with it, right? Like you live with what you do. So I think from now on, I won't be as crazy like in my head with these pages, but it was just because it was my first time. And honestly, I love it so much. I love it, love it, love it so much. I want to do it again and again and again and again and again. It feels like scrapbooking made easy. And maybe it's just because of the art's in it. I don't know. But I did decide to do the date with my date stamp. And I am going to do some journaling, which I love journaling. That's kind of the whole thing here. I want to marry the art, the journaling, and the pictures on a scrapbook page instead of my journal. And I had this chipboard P from, gosh, I don't even know. I think it was when Parker was a baby, when I was in Close to My Heart consultant. I can't even remember. Yeah, he was a baby because I had to quit when we discovered his kidneys were failing. So we had to do all these appointments and I could not keep up with it. I would have been one of those people that would like get to go on the trips because I was so good at selling scrapbook stuff. But anyway, I had this P and I just decided to cover it with some pretty yellow paper. And then, of course, I'm just like, where should I put it? Where should I put it? Oh my gosh, it's going to be permanent. So that's what I'm doing now, is auditioning where the P should go. It's hilarious. It's just hilarious. So then, because the paper was all jagged, like out further than the chipboard, I decided to use a file and kind of file it to the chipboard, which was actually the most annoying part of the process. Those are the parts that I don't miss about scrapbooking is, oh, I want to make this color. I have to cover it. And then you have to do all this extra work because you wanted a yellow chevron P for your page. You know what I mean? So I might do something differently with just paint next time, but it was fun. It was fun. It was worth it. So I did finally figure out, I was like, okay, Allie, you are freaking out. Just put the dang P on the page. Sounds weird now that I say P. Parker's monogram. I finally just smack it down. Finally, there we go. Yay! Everyone celebrate. I finally stick it down there and I'm like, okay, it's there. It's there now. And then I make some lines with this is not quite waterproof, but it's waterproof enough. And then I use my Lamy to write a little bit of journaling on this moment of this picture, this story. And it was kind of feathering a little bit on this paper, which was super bizarre because there was no water on it at all. I actually have lost my Platinum desk pen and I'm like super sad about it. But anyway, I did the last bit of journaling and called it good. And I really think this will make me happy when I turn to it in my scrapbook. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I will see y'all later. Bye.